Here are 5 mistakes stopping you from losing stubborn belly fat. So I remember in my teenage years, I was so self-conscious. I was a very fat kid for as long as I can remember. And you know, once you hit puberty, you start getting interested in girls. You want to show off a little bit to other people. You want to be more respected. I remember at the age of 12 years old, I was sitting in my room doing push-ups, literally crying because I wanted to lose weight. I had no idea what I was doing. I was trying so long to burn that fat and nothing was working. I got to the point where I actually thought that dieting was fake. I genuinely believed at a certain point that it was all genetic and the way you are born is the way you are going to be forever. And I thought this way up until I discovered these 5 mistakes, put them into action, and finally started seeing results. So let's get to it. Number 1, eating too many foods that lead to water retention and bloating. If you find yourself bloated or looking very puffy, a lot of the times it's because you're eating something that either irritates you, that you are allergic to, that your body can't process as well, or it's just very, very high in carbs, causing a lot of water retention. I don't know if you've ever had a day where you ate a bunch of junk food and woke up the next day with like a moon face, because I definitely have. And the reason for that is because carbs hold a lot of water, and the more carbs you eat, the more water is going to be stored inside the carbs, making you look a little bit more puffy and more watery. This can appear on your face, on your belly, and anywhere else throughout the body. Same thing with bloating. Try to find foods that don't irritate your stomach or your gut. So for me, I tend to avoid all artificial sweeteners, even though I really used to love them. I avoid them now because they lead to a lot of bloating and cramps within my gut, which then makes it look like you have a bunch of belly fat where you actually don't. Number 2, not tracking calories. After dieting for a little bit, I got into pretty decent shape, but I still had a little bit of stubborn belly fat left. What did I do to break through this plateau? Well, I personally started tracking calories. I'm not saying everybody has to track calories. By no means. If you hate it, if you want to kill yourself when you track calories, don't do it. Find some other way. Maybe track portions, maybe just measure things out and like intuitively know how many calories are there. But for me, to get rid of all of my stubborn belly fat, all I did was track calories. This is the number 1 tip I would preach to anyone, but if it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you, and you can use any of the other tips within this list. Number 3, not eating enough nutritious foods. So I just talked about calories and I still stand by that. But if you're in a calorie deficit and not eating nutritious foods, you're gonna feel worse and it's gonna be harder to lose weight. But if you're eating in a surplus and also eating non-nutritious foods, here are some of the main things you're predisposed to: hormone imbalances and macronutrient deficiencies. If we take these two and extrapolate a little bit, let's say you don't get all of your zinc in, let's say you don't get all your magnesium in, let's say you're deficient in protein. Looking downstream from this, you can have a lower testosterone level, low amounts of protein, and you can start packing on a bunch of fat around areas that you really don't want, like your hips, like your stomach. So focus on eating nutrient dense foods. Stay in a calorie deficit, of course, but instead of only eating foods that are low in calories, try to add some nutrition to that. So nowadays when I diet, I switch from something like chicken breast to more fatty meats that have more micronutrients like beef. And instead of eating something like protein bars, which I used to consume quite often, I now eat more vegetables for snacks. And look, it's all great if you just want to get the ball rolling with lesser nutrient foods, but please do not skip out on the very high dense nutrient foods. Number 4, drinking too much alcohol. So alcohol is very underestimated in how damaging it is. If you read any study, if you listen to any type of credible information about alcohol, it's typically far worse for your body than people think it is. It messes up your hormones, it messes up your sleep, it doesn't allow you to build protein as well. You store more fat if you've drank in the past week. Overall, you should be avoiding alcohol when losing weight, but I think everybody intuitively understands this. I've never met a person who drinks alcohol and doesn't realize the negative effects of alcohol on their weight loss, so consider drinking less or not drinking at all, because it will make a giant difference within your weight loss journey. And number 5, sleep. You really have to be dialing in your sleep when you want to lose weight. Sleep helps you burn the candle at both ends. Not only does getting enough sleep better regulate ghrelin and leptin, which are your hunger and satiety hormones, but also the longer you sleep, the less time you have to eat. So a diet hack that I used to use is I would sleep a little bit longer so I just wouldn't have the amount of time to eat as much. And look, I know it sounds silly, but it worked for me. So if it worked for me, it may also work for you. If you're ready to take the first step, press the first link in the description and join our free Skool group. Here you will meet like-minded people and get more direct help from me and our community. If I give anything of value within this video, please consider subscribing and don't forget to stay savvy with your diet.